This evening, first, heartbreak on the highways. Another tragic accident claims the life of a 9-month-old baby girl as police hunt for a hit-and-run driver. Plus, a major leap in healthcare. Guyana rolls out a multi-million-dollar electronic health records system promising faster and more efficient medical care. Also, 500 families take a step closer to home ownership as the government pushes ahead with its ambitious housing agenda. Insecurity news. A break-in at the Ministry of Housing Annex raises alarms with police searching for a suspect caught on camera. And on the global stage, stock markets nosedive as fresh tariffs from the US sparks fear of a trade war. Stay tuned, these stories and more tonight on Headline News Update. Welcome to this broadcast of Channel 2's Headline News Update for March 4th, 2025. I am Bibi Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. First up, as road carnage continues on the nation's highway, a 9-month-old baby girl has become the latest victim. Police are investigating a fatal hit-and-run accident that occurred around 18:30 hours on Sunday, March 2nd, along the Line Path public road currently in Berbice. The tragedy claimed the life of baby Ellie Sujunarine. The accident involved a white field wagon and an electric cycle. Ellie's father, 17-year-old Tushan Sujunarine, was riding the electronic cycle with the infant and her mother, 19-year-old Kavita Betsan, as pillion riders. According to initial investigations, the electric bike was traveling north along the western side of the road when it was struck from behind, causing all 3 riders to be thrown onto the roadway. Passerbys rushed the injured family to the Skeldon Public Hospital where they received the initial treatment before being transferred to the New Amsterdam Public Hospital and later to Georgetown Public Hospital. Sadly, baby Ellie succumbed to her injuries en route to the hospital. Police have since located the vehicle involved in the accident, but the driver remains at large as investigations continue. Authorities are once again urging drivers to exercise caution on the roadways, reminding them that recklessness and irresponsible driving can have devastating consequences. Every life lost is a tragedy, and the public is encouraged to report dangerous driving and assist law enforcement in making the roads safer for everyone. In other news, police are investigating a security breach at the Ministry of Housing Annex, which occurred between 8 p.m. on Sunday and 7 a.m. on Monday. Although no items were reportedly missing, a male suspect was captured on CCTV footage entering and exiting the compound at night. The 3-story building, secured by elite security service, was locked around 8 p.m. on Sunday by 22-year-old office assistant who lodged the key at the ministry's head office on Brickdam. When the keys were retrieved the following day, a cleaner discovered an office on the middle floor, ransacked, and alerted the authorities. Security footage showed the suspect wearing a black jersey and green 3/4 pants arriving on a bicycle around 12:22 a.m. He entered a nearby compound before accessing the housing annex and exiting around 12:45 a.m. carrying a black haversack and a white box. He was last seen cycling away towards Crowell Street. The casement windows in the IT room was found open, but no signs of forced entry were detected. Police have interviewed several individuals as investigations continue. Moving on, Guyana is set to modernize its healthcare system with the rollout of an electronic health records system later this month. The initiative, valued at $3.3 million is being developed by UK-based RioMed Limited and aims to improve efficiency in patient data management. President Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali, speaking during the 55th Republic Anniversary celebration, described the move as a giant leap forward in digitizing healthcare and ensuring seamless access to medical history. Phase 1 of the project will begin at the Georgetown Public Hospital and its satellite clinics, with plans to expand nationwide after successful implementation. The initiative is part of a US $97 million Inter-American Development Bank funded project aimed at transforming healthcare across Guyana. The government has also enacted a data protection law to ensure patient confidentiality and regulate the handling of personal medical data. In addition to EHR, 6 state-of-the-art hospitals are expected to open this year, along with 84 telemedicine sites, providing remote healthcare access to hinterland and rural communities. Over the past 3 years, more than 25 health posts and centers have been built to improve nationwide healthcare services. The government says these initiatives will bring worldwide medical services closer to citizens, ensuring better healthcare delivery nationwide. Stick around when we return. 500 families receive house lots in undernaming and hundreds of housing units under construction nationwide.
See clearly with a gift of sight from Modern Optical Services. Let our professional team examine and prescribe what's best for your eyes. Common smiles make fashionable faces. See us for a full line of optical services, including brand name and prescription eyewear. Modern Optical Services. 316 Mill Street, Georgetown. Telephone 226-1082.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny? I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Furnishing your home or office has never been easier. Here at Kissoon's, our inventory of locally made and imported furniture, offered at amazing prices, will leave you wanting more. From vinyl, floor rugs and carpets, bedroom, dining and living room sets, mattresses, pillows, office desk, chairs and filing cabinets, outdoor benches and tables. We have a piece of furniture for every room imaginable in your home or office. Check out our flagship store at Industrial Site Rijnveld or one of our branches in New Amsterdam, Port Morant, Riverton and Camp Street. Kissoon's Furniture, furnishing homes for over 50 years.
Welcome back. Hundreds of families took a major step towards homeownership as the Ministry of Housing and Water allocated 500 house lots at Undernaming Housing Scheme Phase 4 Extension Region 2 on Saturday last. The distribution, which caters to low, moderate, and middle-income applicants, was led by Minister of Housing and Water Colin Crowell at the Tacuba Lodge compound under Regina. Speaking to the potential homeowners on Friday, Minister Crowell highlighted the government's $250 billion investment in the housing sector over the past 4.5 years, with $1.9 billion allocated for housing developments in Region 2 alone.
Tomorrow, 500 allottees will be allocated in the Undernaming area, for which the infrastructure work has just been awarded. So therefore, it means by the last quarter of this year, those persons that are being allocated tomorrow will be accessing their lot in this year. And moving forward after this exercise, all the allottees that we will be allocating in this year, it doesn't matter which region we will be doing it. All allottees that are being allocated in the year 2025 will be accessing their lot by the end of 2025.
So far, 791 house lots have been distributed in Essequibo, helping to reduce the region's housing backlog. Minister Kroll said the government continues to work with the Guyana Lands and Surveys Commission and Guyana Sugar Corporation to acquire additional lands, aiming to surpass its 50,000 house lot target for 2025 by at least 14,000 house lots. Since 2020, over 41,000 house lots have been allocated, with plans to distribute another 25 by July of 2025. Continuing on our coverage of the housing sector, Minister Susan Rodriguez, minister within the Ministry of Housing and Water, added that hundreds of housing units are under construction nationwide. Minister Rodriguez, also speaking at the ministry's housing outreach at Tacuba Lodge Compound and Regina Region 2, said the government is making significant progress in its housing initiative, with hundreds of units at various stages of completion across multiple housing schemes. Currently, housing units are being constructed in Bartica, Palmyra, Cummins Lodge, Fort Ordnance, and Williamsburg, Hampshire. Since 2020, the government has built 3,800 houses, with 2,100 already completed and handed over to beneficiaries.
In all of these areas, many of the areas across different regions have reserved land where we have started housing construction. And so people have been able, thousands of people have been able, 3,800 homes are under construction. Some have already been completed and some are under construction now through the housing program. And so many of our people were able to purchase the housing units at a significantly reduced cost as well, because if you have to build one of those low-income houses on your own, it would cost you a lot more.
Rodriguez said the government has also distributed over 41,000 house lots as part of its commitment to allocate 50,000 house lots by the end of 2025, with systems in place to support home ownership further.
We have negotiated with the banks since we came back into government and ensured that interest rates were reduced in the last 4 years. In a global economy where interest rates are being raised because of inflation, in Guyana, we saw interest rates reduce significantly. We've also introduced other programs like the steel and cement subsidy program to help people to commence the construction of their homes and to make it more affordable to them and more accessible to them. And we've also increased the mortgage interest relief ceiling to $30 million. So if you get a mortgage from the bank, all of the interest that you pay on that mortgage, you can claim that back at the end of the year from the policies that we've implemented to make homeownership more affordable and to make it more accessible.
With a $112.6 billion budget for housing in 2025, the government plans to allocate more than 25,000 house lots and develop 20 new housing schemes. Additionally, collaboration with the Guyana Lands and Surveys Commission and Guyana Sugar Corporation aims to acquire more land for future projects. Minister Rodriguez said the administration is working to ensure affordable housing remains accessible to all Guyanese. Don't go away after the break. Party versus Carriot Trinidad and Tobago Carnival Road March battle heats up, and Greece pushes for Europe's first gallium plant amid rare metal revolution.
Furnishing your home or office has never been easier. Here at Kissoon's, our inventory of locally made and imported furniture, offered at amazing prices, will leave you wanting more. From vinyl, floor rugs and carpets, bedroom, dining and living room sets, mattresses, pillows, office desk, chairs and filing cabinets, outdoor benches and tables. We have a piece of furniture for every room imaginable in your home or office. Check out our flagship store at Industrial Site Rijnveld or one of our branches in New Amsterdam, Port Morant, Riverton and Camp Street. Kissoon's Furniture, furnishing homes for over 50 years.
Sneakily with a gift of sight from Modern Optical Services. Let our professional team examine and prescribe what's best for your eyes. Common smiles make fashionable faces. See us for a full line of optical services, including brand name and prescription eyewear. Modern Optical Services. 316 Ministry, Georgetown. Telephone 226-1082.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Welcome back. Now we take a look at what's happening in the region and around the world. In Trinidad and Tobago, the Carnival Road March battle heats up as Marsha Montano's party and Bunchy Garland's Carriot dominate the 2025 Road March race, thrilling masqueraders in Port of Spain. While fans are divided, both songs played non-stop as bands like Tribe and Paparazzi crossed South Gate. Meanwhile, Nicki Minaj surprised fans with a Carriot remix, adding to the excitement. With the winner set to be announced on Ash Wednesday, the battle remains fierce. Meanwhile, stock markets worldwide tumble after President Trump imposed tariffs on China, Canada, and Mexico, sparking fears of a trade war. Canada and China retaliated with their own tariffs, while Mexico prepared countermeasures. U.S. indexes fell sharply, with the Dow down 1.5%. Analysts warn tariff could raise consumer prices, with avocados, cars, and maple syrup among affected goods. Experts call it the biggest U.S. tariff hike since the 1940s. We now turn our attention to Europe. Rare earth metals are the new raw materials used to make things like semiconductor chips and other key electronic products. Now, Europe wants to become autonomous when it comes to mining them. An important part of that goal is being realized in Greece. Al Jazeera's John Serapoulos reports.
Mined from Mount Parnassus in central Greece, bauxite is the mineral ore from which aluminium is made at this plant. It also contains traces of gallium, a rare earth metal used in semiconductors. Europe has to import it, but leading Greek metals producer Metlen is now investing $300 million to create the continent's first gallium production line.
The volume China produces is huge, and it controls prices, putting other producers out of business. With 5G telecommunications, LED lights and mobile phones, demand for gallium is soaring, and that's a great opportunity to satisfy European demand.
Metlen says it plans to produce 50 tons of gallium a year by 2027, meeting all of European demand.
It's not just gallium that's not being produced in Europe. There are 17 rare metals used in high-tech products, and the European Union imports 98% of them from China. 4 years ago, it set out to find rare metals on EU soil, and its hopes are pinned on Scandinavia, Greenland, and Greece. Initial surveys suggest that there are significant deposits of rare metals in northern Greece and the Aegean seabed.
Metlen plans to extract vanadium, yttrium and scandium from this bauxite in future. Other areas of Greece are rich in tungsten, germanium and antimony. But finding the deposits is only one side of the equation. It takes vast amounts of electricity to refine aluminium.
At the moment, Greece has the only fully operational aluminum plant in Europe. The others are either totally shut down or working at a very, very low capacity. Generally speaking, in Europe, the production of raw materials is declining constantly for the last 2 or 3 decades. And that has to do with production cost.
The reason Metlen has survived as a metals producer may have something to do with the fact that it is one of Greece's biggest suppliers of electricity from gas. 3 power plants operate on this site and 2 of them supply the aluminium factory. For now, Metlen's plant is set to become ground zero for rare earth metals in this part of Europe. Long term, Europe can't become metals autonomous until it secures affordable energy, a problem it has yet to solve. John Saropoulos, Al Jazeera, on Mount Parnassus in central Greece.
Finally, Russia continues to insist that it will accept a peace deal with Ukraine, but only on its terms. Moscow has also dismissed suggestions of European troops on the ground in Ukraine after the conflict ends. Al Jazeera's Yulia Shapovalova reports.
Behind the walls of the Kremlin, Russia's leaders have watched on as President Trump signaled a massive shift in US policy towards Ukraine, NATO and support for Europe. While some in the West see Washington's flattering rhetoric towards Moscow as an attempt to appease the aggressor, the US says it's trying hard to end the bloodshed by bringing Russia to the negotiating table. And it seems like the message is being heard.
After Joe Biden, new people have come into power who are guided by common sense. They say outright that they want to end all wars. They want peace. Who demands a continuation of the war? Europe.
Commenting on the European Leaders' Summit in London on Sunday, the Kremlin said increasing funding to Ukraine would not help a peaceful settlement. Russia remains adamant European boots on the ground in Ukraine, even after a peace deal, means NATO expansion, a red line for Moscow. Russia keeps sending this message to European leaders to stop them following that path. But for Kiev, security guarantees remain key.
President Trump has expressed his willingness to send American specialists to develop Ukraine's deposits of natural resources after a cessation of hostilities and signing of a peace deal. It will give Ukraine some kind of peace guarantees. Once US companies begin mining in Ukraine, he wrote, Putin will not be able to attack without causing massive international repercussions.
While Trump believes Putin will keep his word and peace will be reached, we asked people on the streets of Moscow what they thought.
I think after Trump came to the Oval Office, everything has become so unpredictable. Even the spat between Trump and Zelensky was hard to predict. That was the worst scenario for Ukraine ever. I followed the story, but I've just let it go. I don't know what to expect, but I hope what is happening today is bringing us closer to peace.
There is also Europe. I think America has already shown its interest in a peace settlement. Perhaps there is business interest here. Things now depend more on Europe. How do they see their security? If something happens to them, how will they solve it together?
Of course, there's always hope. But does it bring us closer to peace? Let's hope for the best. Time will tell.
Russia says it wants the war to end with a peace agreement, but on its terms, promising no territorial concessions to Ukraine. Until then, the fighting will continue. Yulia Shapovalova, Al Jazeera, Moscow.
This brings us to the end of our regional and global news coverage. Up next is the 3-day weather forecast. And that's FTV2 Headline News for this Tuesday evening. As we take our leave, we invite you to follow us on Facebook and YouTube. You can tune in tomorrow at 6:30 a.m. for rebroadcast and at 7 p.m. for more news. Until then, please take care of yourself and each other.